So, you're building a Minecraft city, but something just doesn't seem right. Almost like your city is missing something. Well, luckily for you, I may be able to help. Here are 10 features your Minecraft city is missing. Alright, number 1, let's talk about terrain variation. When you think of cities, you most likely think of flat land with little to no incline. But this isn't quite the case. See, whether you realize it or not, cities are not perfectly flat. Or at least, most aren't. Take the city of San Francisco for a rather extreme example. San Francisco is actually home to one of the steepest streets, having a 41% slope, meaning for every 100 feet you walk, you drop 41 feet. That's pretty steep. Now, I'm certainly not telling you to build steep roads all over your city. In fact, I probably don't recommend building steep roads at all for first-time builders. But slight height variations can greatly change the way your city feels to walk through, and it creates interest as to what's at the top of that hill and keeps you exploring. Now, terrain variation doesn't just have to do with the roads. Here in my city, I have a staircase to get to a higher part of the street. There's also a road connecting it, but what makes it so interesting is the vertical terrain variation and the interesting architecture it creates. After all, a mix-up in techniques is always appreciated. Number 2 is underpasses and overpasses. Sometimes vertical variation can get a little bit messy. Some streets may be inset into the ground, while others sit above it. There are many situations where there just isn't enough room to connect the two at the current location. If you understand how to deal with these situations well, you can achieve a very unique and realistic looking result. Underpasses and overpasses occur when the roads of two different Y levels intersect. To do this properly in a way that looks realistic, make sure that your overpasses are high enough so that taller vehicles like trucks can pass underneath them no problem. Number 3, we got street signs. Street signs can really help bring your city to life, as they give clear instructions on how to navigate your world. Be it traffic lights, stop signs, street signs, or even speed limits, these features will make a huge difference when it comes to the realism of your world. There are lots of designs on YouTube you can find for different signs, but I definitely recommend playing around with wall blocks and structure voids to make most signs. Let me know in the comments down below if I should make a sign tutorial. Next up at number 4 is public transit. This is definitely something my city is still lacking. Be it bus stops, train stations, monorails, or even subways. A good city has good public transit lines to get citizens to their destinations in a timely manner while lowering the amount of traffic on the streets. For subways and bus stops, I recommend spacing out your stops no more than a quarter mile or about 400 blocks away from each other, and no less than maybe 150 blocks. Train stations can be further away from each other, as they are usually used for longer trips, either across cities or across multiple towns. When all of these forms of transit are used together, it makes traversing the city seamless for your citizens. Number 5 is a really important one, which is often forgotten. Let's talk about parks and greenery. Greenery, when done right, can entirely change your city's vibe. It's the quickest way to transform a concrete dystopia into a vibrant paradise full of charm and life. Research has shown that having gardens, bushes, trees, and other greenery in cities can significantly reduce stress in the population. Be it simply parks for people to walk in, separating the sidewalk from the road by some flowers, or even simply filling empty spots with trees and gardens. Greenery should not be overlooked. Consider adding plazas and greens, along with benches so people can sit and enjoy the area. Number 6 is living imperfections. Now, we all know that cities are the densest form of civilizations, and what happens when you squeeze potentially hundreds of thousands of people into a small area? Well, I'll give you a hint, not a perfect utopia. People are messy, and when you have this many of them, the land tends to be messier. Your city won't be perfect. Embrace it. Add dumpsters, trash cans in parks, fire hydrants, potholes, and maybe even accidents. Oof, poor guy. These things can quickly bring life to the little corners of your world that just need that special something. Certainly there are other imperfections that you can think of to fill these spaces, but my point is proven, so moving on. Let's talk about city lights, number 7 for the mathematically challenged. Yes, the all-important. Cities are beautiful at night, as long as you don't visit the back alley now filled with all sorts of nasty things. But other than that, cities are beautiful at night. Be it the billboards, the street lamps, traffic lights, or even window lights. Urban developments are truly one of a kind in the dark. Be sure to take advantage of this. Build big billboard-style ads, street lamps lining the roads, light up your windows as well. It really does add a whole nother dimension to your world. McDonald's and Starbucks are great and all, but there's gotta be more to a city than that. Number 8. specialized stores. There are so many buildings in cities, and since they're all in such a tight space, you unfortunately can't make them all supermarkets and coffee shops. Many shops in cities offer specialization. For example, maybe a music shop for all the latest vinyls, or a bike shop, which also offers repairs. Even butchers and fish markets could be good candidates. There really are an endless number of possibilities when it comes to the types of shops and services you can make, and it's a great idea to explore your options. These specializations make the city feel more real and alive, almost like it has a soul. Every city has a few hidden gems, so it's only fitting that yours does too. Number 9. Cities are at the center of the world's economy. This is because they are built at strategic locations where trade is often held. This is why many of the world's largest cities are built on waterfronts. Ships from overseas would dock at these cities' ports for trading, making the city lots of money, while simultaneously making it a hotspot to live near. Building a large water source near your city will add to the lore and the realism. While you could build your city on an ocean similar to New York or San Francisco, for example, you could also build your city port similarly to Chicago or Detroit, that being a large body of water like the Great Lakes. Either way, good seaports can greatly improve the economic culture of your city. Between harbors, boardwalks, and beaches, you will have your work cut out for sure, but the result is sure to be worth it. Lastly, we have number 10, parking locations. This can be a difficult one for sure. At least, it can be more difficult than it seems. Cities are really tightly packed. Once again, most of the people in these tightly packed areas all need cars, especially if public transit isn't really all that good. Parking lots work fine in some areas, but aren't a perfect fit for every space, because they take up lots of room. On-street parking works sometimes, but again, it isn't really realistic for everyone to be able to fit on the sides of the road. This is where parking garages and underground parking come in. Vertical parking spaces like these are super efficient and can sometimes even blend into your skyline. There are videos online on how to build parking garages, and I am far from an expert on this art, so I won't go too much in depth on how to build them. Regardless, having parking garages every few blocks will maximize parking spaces and minimize long walking distances. After all, you want people to come from all over to see what your city has to offer. Be kind to your visitors and give them good parking. Hopefully you found this video helpful for your city. Are there any good tips I missed? Feel free to let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing, because I make videos like this whenever rent is due. And also, if by some miracle I hit 100k before the end of the year, I'll do a real face reveal. No more fake ones, I'm done fooling you guys. Also, really quickly, just a big shout out to everyone who let me use their footage from my Discord. I really do appreciate it, and it helped this editing process a ton. And for some reason, if you hated this video, why'd you watch it? I mean, what am I supposed to say? Seriously? God bless you all, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.